provide the commissioners with fiscal year 2023-2024 contracts for our agency. And the second reason we're here is to present to the commissioners our fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. So the first thing I'll talk about is our contracts. Our 2023-24 contracts, just to give you a little idea, I did provide you with a listing of all our contracts. We have contracts with 42 providers across the state. Of those 42 providers, they have 62 facility locations across the state. And these providers, they provide services for drug and alcohol services, specifically for treatment, prevention, and intervention. So we have the ability, it's a full continuum of services. So we have all our bases covered, so to speak. And I would ask the commissioners to approve these contracts for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Motion to approve those contracts.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve those 23-24 contracts. Any questions regarding the motion? Any comments, Sue? We good?
No.
She's the next area
Okay,
of expertise.
Comments? Any comments or questions? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
I would also point out to the commissioners that I provided you all with a contract changes sheet for fiscal year 2023-24. Again, those on that sheet are ones that we added, removed, or changed to the contracts that you just approved. So you actually see that every year the contracts, we adapt them to what we need and we change them as we see fit. Any questions about contracts? Okay, the next thing I'll get into is the 2023-24 budget for my agency. I want to point out that 2022-2023, our budget was $2,255,010. This year, our budget has increased. Our budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 will be $2,470,786. It's an increase of over $200,000, both to our expenditures as well as to our revenues. I want to point out that the increase in the revenues comes from the opioid settlement funds that you folks you're familiar with. I was here before and I presented that to you. And I also talked about things that we were doing with that money, which you approved the contracts. Just to review, one was for a dedicated probation officer to deal with OUD, opiate use disorder, SUD, substance use disorder, and co-occurring clients that are on probation. They dedicated a probation officer specifically to that caseload. We also entered in a contract with the Lebanon County Prison. We are providing them a staff member. We are paying their salary for a staff member at the prison in relationship to the MAT maintenance program that we started down at the prison. They were in need of an officer to make sure that they could oversee that whole process. And the third contract that was added was the MAT itself, a maintenance program through Prime Care. So those are now in the 2023-2024, no longer amendments that I brought to you earlier this year. They will be part of from July 1 moving forward.
And Jim, may I just ask, usually grant money or settlement money you wouldn't use for recurring expenses of employment, but isn't this like an 18-year?
This is an 18-year
So that's kind of safe.
revenue source.
Yeah, that's a different.
And if you notice on the sheet, we received $222,435 of that already. That covers the first year for sure. And I don't know if the second year money was partial and we're going to get more or not. But the first year we received $171,000 some dollars. And the second year we're receiving $253,000. And every year it goes up, sometimes it goes down. But we will always be able to maintain those three programs throughout the 18 years.
That's good enough for me. Okay. Sorry.
And hopefully add, when the years, there's more money, add to programming. In preparation for this meeting, Sue, as she always does, She provided the commissioners with a memorandum, and basically what it is it's her budget summary report to you. You can see what went up throughout the year, you can see what went down throughout the year. My favorite part of her memorandum is number 11, which I believe is your favorite part of the memorandum. It states, as in prior years, we are not requesting any support from the county general fund. And the reason, in all fairness, is that we maintain the campus out at New Perspectives, and you are gracious enough to let us maintain that money in lieu of the 10% match, which the rent is higher than the 10% match. So we do appreciate that. It's not like you're not giving us anything for our department. Wanted to make that clear.
Clarifying that.
Okay, clarifying that for everyone in the room.
Commissioner Litz, did you have a question?
No,
sorry.
Oh,
I
I'm
was
sorry, I thought
going
she was
to
gonna-
make a motion and
Oh,
thank Sue for her wonderful, wonderful work. She just keeps on top of those numbers. It's very complicated and convoluted, and you have a great person to rely upon to help you out.
Yeah, drug and alcohol, the funding streams are different every
Crazy, you
year.
can say crazy.
Yeah, they are crazy.
But anyhow, thank you for what you do, and Jim, thank you for your leadership. And on that, I'll make a motion to approve the over $2 million budget.
Second.
are you finished?
Well, I just wanted, the last thing that I provided you folks is a 5-year budget comparison. So you can see the growth of our department. In 2012, when Carol left my department to go to aging, I came in 2012. Our budget was $1.1 million. You can see, this report that I provided you only goes back to 2019. But in 2012, it started at $1.1 million. You can see in 19, it went to 1.8. In 20, it went to 1.9. 21, it went to 2.1. Last year was 2.2, and this year it's 2.4. So it's absolutely doubled over my years. And the reason I'm saying all this is, credit where credit's due. With more money becomes more responsibility, more programming, more services. And Sue, I'm here to tell you that for the most part, I don't know how long, but she's been a one-man band, not only covering drug and alcohol budgets and issues and funding sources and so forth, but she also has another half of MHIDEI, which you'll hear about later. So it's great to get all the money, but I want people to realize that there are people behind that when our budget increases, so does her workload, so does mine, so does my case managers, and so forth. So, and we're a small agency. We have 4 people.
County continues to grow, and in addition to the increase in budget, the problems, the challenges continue to grow because of that growth, but then we're able to help more people too, that make a greater impact.
Yeah, and the drug and alcohol state program, has given us some things that they wanted us to do. We instituted the new case management program several years ago, and that was a hefty sum, to expand the program, because we only had the 2 case managers who were in our office. Now we have Pennsylvania Counseling, who has up to 7 case managers.
Yeah, we get mandates from DDAP all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of times in previous years, they're mandated that are unfunded. However, I can't complain about DDAP at this point
No,
because
yeah, they have
everything,
funded.
everything they mandate us to do, they provide the funding for. So I have no complaints there. And my concern always is when you get money 1 year, hopefully you continue to get it, ongoing. Like she said, we started a case management unit at PCS. I mean, I think the budget's over $500,000 just for that.
Yeah.
It employs 7 people, case managers, and also employs 2 CRSs. So we hope we continue to get that funding from DDAP to continue those services and provide what the people in the community need. But there's no guarantee to that.
Well, again, Sue, you take a complicated process of numbers and you simplify it to this summary. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate. I look at the numbers and then I look at your summary and I think, wow, it's just so succinct and factual and easy to understand no matter who you are. It's just well done. Thank you.
And
We have been teaching each other I'm not a numbers guy, I'm a program guy.
Yes.
So I'll figure out the programs and I'll get the programs here and we'll get the money here. And then she's the one who figures out the money end of it.
That's a good team, and I can't believe it's
Yeah.
over a decade since you moved into
10
that.
years,
Yep, into that role. Yeah.
5 to go.
That's,
Then we're gonna have
That's
another,
your-
we're
that's
gonna have
your hope.
another pitcher. No, that's not my hope. I mean, God willing, I'm still alive 5 years.
that was not what I was saying.
That will be my.
All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved. Did you have something?
Yeah, just one's a comment, one's a question. Just nice to see the interest that you're getting now, that you can include for revenues.
Oh, yeah,
For years it
towards
was
the end of,
almost zero.
towards the end of this year, the interest really started going up because of the way Fulton Bank,
Yeah, the rates.
yeah.
Did I hear somewhere, it was on the news, or I forget where, maybe through CCAT, is there another settlement in the works, or are there other settlements that are coming
Opiate
along?
settlements?
Yeah.
Yes, there's other lawsuits in the works. It's with drugstores. I don't have the names,
that's
but I
right.
know Walgreens.
That's right.
There's
That's what it
Teva, Walgreens, there's like 5 of them. I've already done the initial, let's get in it,
Mhm.
but I haven't come before the commissioners for the, I need to put, I have to get their approval to fully go into.
Is there
the
a
next-
sense of what our share of those would be, how it's divvied up in PA? Is it the same?
I don't have any idea how
Okay.
that would look,
Okay.
but it's substantial money to not be involved in.
Okay.
So. And when that does come down, we will pursue
Yeah.
it. And I will be back here to give you more details about that and what that looks like.
Okay, anything else, Jamie?
Nope.
If not, thank you very much, and Susan, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait,
She stays.
Pam does have a question.
Pam Tricama, Lebanon City. This isn't about the budget, but it seems to me that since May 1st, there's been a huge increase in the number of overdoses in Lebanon County, coming up to almost 1 a day. Is there something specific that happened that might be making that occur?
I can tell you, I don't have the information that you have as far as overdoses 1 per day. I don't know where you got that information, because I don't get notified of overdose people that survive. And what I mean by that is, I am in direct contact with Dr. Yoakum. Every time there's an overdose death in Lebanon County, Dr. Yoakum's office will contact our office. He will notify us. So we know, I can tell you today, there's 16 deaths as a result of overdoses as of May 28th, 2023, was the last report I got from Dr. Yoakum. So that's 16. Keep in mind, last year we had 29 total for the entire year. So we are looking at, we're in the middle of June. I'm sure I'm going to get the June report at the end. There's going to be additional ones on that 16 already. So we're well over what we were averaging last year. So the number looks like it'll be more than 29. I can also tell you that the most we've ever had in Lebanon County is 39. And I think that was maybe in 2018 or 2019. So I can't answer, that could be a truthful statement. People could be overdosing at the rate of 1 per day. I would only know if they were dying 1 per day if Dr. Yoakum was telling me there's deaths.
So
I get
is
the
the question of-
PM 911 reports when they call for ambulances, and it lists the overdoses. I know the first week in May, there were 3 in 1 day. And it seems it's almost 1 a day since then. I just didn't know if something specific happened that might be causing.
So the question's about overdose, not overdose deaths.
Right, yes.
I think
Yeah.
I read in the paper maybe about fentanyl being in a lot of the drugs and that's causing the
Well,
deaths.
I could tell you that out of the 16 that we have in Lebanon County, 12 are related to fentanyl involved. So 75% of all deaths in Lebanon County as a result of overdose has fentanyl in it. I can tell you too, was it Tricamo? That our office takes it very seriously, obviously, that's what we do. I believe our 16 overdose deaths would be a lot more if there wasn't the use of Narcan. We distribute Narcan countywide. I think last year like 1,100 kits and this year we're probably looking at more than that. And we're also going to, and we get that free to the county from PCCD. You know, it's no taxpayer, well,
State taxpayer.
yeah, excuse me. There's no local money involved in paying for that. It comes down from the state PCCD. So we are big on distribution of Narcan, and we're also going to take advantage of a thing called fentanyl test strips. I don't know if you ever heard of
Yep.
those. They're going to be free to the county as well, where we can distribute them from my office, where people, whether they use them or not, I can't tell you how that's going to look, but where you can actually test the drugs that you're going to use before you use them, so they can tell you fentanyl's in.
Do they have to be a liquid to be tested with the strip?
I don't know the details, Commissioner. Liquid, powder, I'm sure it's both, I would think. So, you know, I don't know how many people that use drugs will actually test them before they use them, I'm not sure. My experience is that most people are looking for the fentanyl in the drug, because it's more potent than the heroin. And, you know, that's their mindset. And some it doesn't work out too well for, and some it does. So they chase that ultimate high. Xylazine, I'm sure everybody in here heard about that. That's a big issue in Philly. None of the 16 deaths that we're aware of had that involved in the 16 county deaths. Doesn't mean it's not here, it just means we're not seeing it. I believe everything that happens in Philly trickles to across the state eventually. So I don't know if that answered your question or.
Yeah, it did. I just wasn't sure if you got notified of all the calls for overdoses or just the deaths.
The
So
deaths
you
from-
only know about the
The
deaths.
deaths from Dr. Yoakum, but I also, we have crisis intervention, work at the hospital. They do warm handoff for our office. So they are involved in people coming to the hospital who have overdosed. They'll meet with those folks who survived. They'll talk to them about getting in treatment. So we do have numbers in regards to that, but not everybody who overdoses goes to the hospital.
Okay, yeah,
So I don't know how accurate that number would be.
thank you.
We have a question.
Just one question. Jim, I know that when Audrey Fortna is here and the children and youth are here about juvenile detention placements, there's a real problem finding placements because the centers don't have enough workers to handle potential clients. And I'm wondering, with the 62 facilities that you're contracting to, are you finding that same thing? Like they don't have enough space simply because they don't have enough personnel?
There's always an issue with workforce, always, and it's from place to place it could be an issue. And when that's an issue, you know, they need to have ratios in their facilities. And so from time to time, we will get notification from a provider, from a specific facility, you know, we're going from 14 beds to 7 beds due to staff shortage. But it's not a consistent thing. We don't find an issue with using the contracts we have, finding beds that we need, and people to work there to fulfill the duties. We're not seeing that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay put, sir.
Jim, well, before you go, I have just real quick. This is real quick. This is the reappointments and expirations
Oh,
on your
yes.
council. Based on the recommendation of the Commission on Drug and Alcohol Abuse, the Executive Committee and Council, we have one recommendation for appointment. One is expiring. Ryan Henning is a term expiration. And Lynn Appleby is seeking a reappointment whose term would be till February 19th of 2026. So ask for your action on that.
Motion approved.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Now,
Is Raphael not one of his? MATP?
Oh, yeah, that's a contract with them, with MAT. That's a contract with CAP.
Oh, okay.
Morning, Holly.
Good morning.